Kevin, thanks very much for joining us. Logistics obviously been a really hot topic over the past 12 months. I suppose, what have you been seeing in the market at the moment?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Across Europe, since the onset of COVID-19, we've seen take-up levels for warehouse space continue to rise. In the most part, that's been driven by the growth in online retailing and retailers getting their supply chains in order. Across Europe, in the first quarter of 2021, we saw 8.2 million square meters of warehouse space transacted. That's 43% above the long-term average in terms of warehouse demand. We're expecting a broadly similar Q2, which should mean that take-up levels at the half-year point are at a record level. We're expecting investment volumes also to continue with that trajectory, because as we get more occupational take-up and therefore more warehouses created, that creates more demand for investors as well, looking to place capital into the sector.
What are you expecting to see as we move into, the second half of 2021 and into 2022, I suppose, both from the investors and also the occupiers?
We've recently bought some forecasts for online retail from a company called Forrester. They're world leaders in forecasting demand from online retail. And for Western Europe, they're estimating that by 2025, online retail is going to account for 25% of all retail across Western Europe. That's more than double what it was pre-pandemic. We all know the link between increased online retail and increased warehouse demand. So we think in the short to medium term, the demand drivers for warehouse space are here to stay. The problem that we have is that vacancy across the continent is inherently low. We don't see that vacancy position changing dramatically on the whole. So when we have low warehouse supply and high warehouse demand, the natural consequences for rents to rise. Clearly, that presents a good buying opportunity for investors. And there's every reason to believe that as the total stock of warehouse space across the continent rises, that creates more investable stock for investors to deploy their capital. So all in all, we're expecting more take up and therefore more investment volume as well. We're actually in the process of doing a pan-European survey at the moment, where we're effectively calling this our logistics census. We want to hear from occupiers, investors, developers, anyone with an interest in warehouse property. And come September, the results of that survey will help us paint an accurate picture of some of the pinch points, some of the issues affecting all of the different operators in the sector. So that's going to be something to watch in the future.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, I think, what you get back in terms of the market. And I look forward to seeing that in September. Thanks very much for joining us, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.